everyone, and welcome to today's Business Builders Podcast. I have with me a very special guest today, Joyce Weiss. She's the queen of conflict resolution. Joyce, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Tom Borg. Appreciate it.
Well, we're going to have an exciting conversation today, I just know. And with that, could you tell us a little bit about yourself, your business, and what do you do for your clients?
Of course, I'm a communication coach, and either individuals or small groups come to me and they improve their relationships at work and home, which reduces stress. And how do we do this? You may ask. Well, they transform from not knowing how to start a tough conversation, to becoming confident using their voice without losing their cool.
Outstanding. Outstanding.
And
Well,
HR directors many times are my clients, and they send their direct reports to me because they don't either have the time or even the knowledge with all this communication, strategies that I use. So,
sure.
yeah,
Well,
thank
we're
you
going
for
to learn
asking.
more about how you do this and
Mhm.
how it all ties into this business of bullying, which is a big concern out there today, and
Oh,
it's not
yeah.
getting any better.
Nope.
So maybe the first question we should start out with is, what is bullying? How do you define that?
First of all, 1/3 of the United States workforce experiences bullies. I had to put that there because I just saw this on one of my coaching magazines, and that blew me away. So bullying, it's a form of violence. We
Mm,
have the bullying that you think of as a kid hitting on the playground, and we see this, anytime we watch the news, that still goes on. It's causes interpersonal destruction, mistreatment enough that causes somebody to go to the hospital. It could be, or as looks like it's insignificant, Tom, but someone who rolls their eyes in a condescending way, that still is a form of bullying. And I've got two quick examples that just happened this
hmm
week. Two of my coaching clients were working on how to deal with bullies. And one, let's call her Sue. Sue said, her bully said, "Why are you making such a big deal? It was only a joke." And Sue didn't want to say anything to the boss that she gets ridiculed all the time because Sue doesn't want to be known as a troublemaker.
mm,
So she eats it up and she doesn't know what to do. And that's obviously what we're going to work on. And another one, and this is what you and I were talking about in the green room. What happens if your boss is a bully? Well, this
mm.
just happened. Oh my God. Jim said that his boss said, "I'm not rude." The boss said about himself, "I'm
Mm-hmm.
not rude. You're insignificant." Now, how do you deal with that?
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah, short of punching the guy in the nose, huh? Hmm.
And the thing is, people who say, "You're just too sensitive." Well, if this teasing is one time, it's not bullying. It's just somebody maybe having fun. But if it's over and over and over, even though somebody watching or listening right now will say, "God, everyone's just too sensitive these days." Well, they may be. But when it comes to bullying, though, and especially if the bully doesn't know how to take care of themselves, they take it,
Mm.
they're a victim, they may not even know about it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is interesting. So are you seeing more of an increase in bullying now, or is there a trend of some kind that we're seeing here? What's going on with this?
Yes. And yes, I am
Mm-hmm.
seeing more of it. Is there a trend? Okay. I don't care whether you call it the revolving door syndrome or people exiting. And many times they are leaving because of what we were talking about before,
Mm-hmm.
that they are sick, physically sick. And
Hmm.
their doctors actually say to them, "You have to quit your job."
Wow.
So I am seeing more and more of it. And people are coming to more coaches, such as myself and you, so they
Mm-hmm.
can say, "I'm sick and tired of it. I don't want to do it anymore."
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to tell you, Personally, I've experienced bullying. Recently, for years, I had two friends that
Hmm.
used to tease me, and I never liked it, but I just took it or I kidded back with them until I started thinking, oh my God, I'm sounding like one of my clients or one of my coaching clients.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized I had a blind spot, that
Hmm.
I was a victim. I wasn't doing anything about it. Once I figured out what to do, they're not my bullies anymore. But sometimes we're being bullied and we don't even know it. We just think, oh, come on, deal with it. I just can't, I just can't,
Mm-hmm.
be that
Mm-hmm.
sensitive.
Okay. So let me ask you this. Who are the typical targets of bullies?
Great question. Oh man. These are usually the best and the brightest. These are the people who have social skills better than the bully, technical
Mm,
skills.
mm-hmm.
They somehow they pose a threat to the bully.
Hmm.
And 40% of targets never tell their boss because they don't want to look like a victim. This
Mm,
is another statistic that blew my mind. So people are going around silently, suffering silently, wondering why they can't sleep, why they've gained weight, why their heart's going pumping more. Um, so once you figure out that you're a target and on your own, you can figure, God, why am I a threat? And then that
mm-hmm.
sometimes can help you figure it's a little easier. It's a little
Mm-hmm.
easier.
Mm-hmm.
And it usually has nothing to do with the person who's a target. They're the target because they're the threat. It's the problem is with the bully, but no one's doing anything about the bully.
Mm-hmm.
No one.
So that leads us to our next question. What do you do about that? If you're being bullied, you're the target of this bully. What are
Mhm.
some of the things our listeners can do to remedy this situation?
Well, let me answer that twice. I mean, two different ways.
Okay.
If you're a leader,
Mm-hmm.
there are all kinds of strategies that you can use.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the framework, first of all, is you have a cup of coffee with a bully. If it only happened once, and you discuss, and you recommend a book or some
Mm-hmm.
coaching, yay.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's level 1, which is more important. And that's when there's an apparent pattern that collect
Mm,
data about the bully. Now the bully is aware. And usually at level 1, if the bully, it depends where they are on the syndrome, they will take care of it themselves and say, oh, I see. No, I don't want this to happen. Then there's level 2, when the pattern persists even more, there has to be intervention. Expectations need to be clear,
mm,
and which means they have to say, the leader has to say something like, if this isn't done by 2 months, we're going to have to let you go,
wow.
because the
Mm-hmm.
environment is toxic because of it. We want to keep you here. You are vital. The thing is, you got to figure out how to stop it,
Mm-hmm.
because and then number 3 is no change. There should not be, and if there's no change to the bully, should not be a surprise for the bully to realize next step is going to HR, and they're
Mm-hmm.
probably going to be asked to be let.
Mm,
I mean, it just,
sure.
the thing is though, leaders don't have these basic skills because they
Mm,
don't, oh, I can't do anything about it. The bully is a producer and I don't want to
mm-hmm.
bother. Because leaders sometimes they're as passive, and I'm not saying anything bad, leaders, if it's you, because you
Mm-hmm.
don't have the skills. That's all
Mm-hmm.
this is.
Mm-hmm. So they just don't have the skills to address it with their employees. So as a result, they
Yes.
just kind of stay out of it and this turmoil continues.
Yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So what you just mentioned in the end of that last statement there, that bully needs to know the consequences. And then when they don't comply, they don't come around, then what needs to happen? And how does that take place?
Well, there can be no surprises. You've got the
Uh-huh.
data.
Mm-hmm.
Leader, you have the data. Oh, I noticed that the last meeting, this happened. We talked about it. 2 weeks later, this happened. I don't see any change. I already
Mm,
told you it's not done by 2 weeks. It's like parenting. You can't say, okay, next time, next time, next time,
mm,
because you as a leader, you're going
mhm,
to be looked down upon by your good employees.
yeah,
And don't be surprised. I don't mean to sound like this, but I get very upset because I know
sure.
there are so many great employees that don't want to leave. They have to because leaders are not
Mhm,
listening to them and
mhm.
they're listening to the bully.
So that does lead
Yeah,
to people leaving the company.
you got it.
Enough's enough.
Yes.
I know we were mentioning before in the green room how I know of a person who's leaving her company,
Mhm.
and it's because the owners of the company are the bullies, and it's caused a lot of stress in her life. And she's at the point now where she just doesn't want to deal with it anymore. So
Yes.
she's gone out into the job market, was offered 3 different offers, and so she's leaving.
No surprise. And this is something new that I've been saying on all my videos
Hmm.
and on my show, Kick Conflict to the Curb.
Hmm.
I'm now saying to my clients, what is it costing you
Mm,
if you don't resolve the conflict? Money, for sure, relationships, a good night's sleep. How about
hmm.
your mental and physical health? And
Hmm.
I also know of somebody from another country who comes to me. She's a VA and she's in the hospital, very young woman in her 20s. She works for a bully here in the States. And finally, the doctor, which you and I were talking about with that other person, the doctor said, you have to quit. So here, this bully boss is losing a great VA,
Hmm.
and not just me, but I know 2 other colleagues who are going to leave the bully boss. And when this VA, this young woman gets better, we're going to work with her directly.
Hmm.
And she
Nice.
won't get in
Huh,
trouble, and neither will she.
huh,
And Tom, this bully boss doesn't get it. She
huh.
doesn't get it.
Hmm.
And she won't get it because she's very stuck in her ways, and she's also young. It's not just, older, the boomer generation. They don't.
Mm,
It's a young boss who doesn't know.
see, that's where it's going, and that's what needs to happen. That person needs to face the music, realize
Yes,
that what they're doing is not correct. Well, I guess it's the people above her that are going to have to discipline that boss in that
yes,
situation, whoever that boss reports to. But yeah, that's critical. People take responsibility for themselves, take the action they need to take, what that means, leaving the company or addressing it in a way that's set up, but they got to
yes,
need to take some action and do it as soon as possible.
yes. And I had a guest last night on
Mhm,
my show, Kid Conflict Occurred. His name
mhm,
is Brett Packard.
mhm.
And he only deals with the elite performers for leaders.
Oh,
And he said, you have to first ask questions, you have to listen, and then you have to act. No wonder why he deals
hmm,
with the top leaders, because this is what because the act part is missing. Look at what
mm,
happened with all these case scenarios that you and I are talking about today.
mhm,
If these leaders, and they don't listen to the employees,
right,
they don't.
mhm,
Some of them do. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking the ones that don't.
mhm,
If you've got a revolving door syndrome going on, yeah, better look in the mirror, folks. I may
mhm,
sound mean and I'm not smiling,
mhm,
but I see it too much. People are blindsided.
mhm. Okay, that makes sense.
Yep.
Well, let me ask you this. So what are some of the things a leader can do about bullying in the workplace if he knows or she knows it's going on? What are some additional things they can do to fix it?
Well, these are going to be easy ones. I already told
Okay.
you about level 1, level 2,
Mm-hmm.
level
Mm-hmm.
3.
Yes.
And the first one, which was just have a coffee conversation.
Yeah.
A bully could be the loud one, the
Mm,
talkative one that takes over the meeting um, when a quieter person tries, but they just like bulldoze them.
mm-hmm.
So this is easy. This really is easy.
Mm-hmm.
The leader needs to go to both the talkative one which I call the bully because he knows
Mm-hmm.
or she knows exactly what they're doing,
Mm-hmm.
and the quieter one. For the
Hmm.
talkative one, you say, you know what? I appreciate your answer, your ideas. We need to give everybody on the team a chance to share their ideas. I'd
Mm-hmm.
appreciate if you work on that. And the next meeting, let so and so answer because he or she's tried, but then it's like you purposely, which they do,
Mm-hmm.
try to shut them off.
Mm-hmm.
And again, you could do level 1, level 2, like you don't fire someone if they interrupt, of course not. But this is still a form of bullying
Yeah.
because the louder ones get their voice heard.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
then the leader needs to go to the quieter one and says,
Mm-hmm.
you know what? I know you have good ideas. I also know that you've been trying. Well, I'm working with some of the noisier teammates of yours. I'd appreciate it. I can't hold your hand, but I'd
Mm-hmm.
appreciate it if you would use your ideas. And you're going to
Mm-hmm.
have a place here. People will listen to you because we're working on that.
Right. Absolutely. That makes so
Now,
much sense. Well, Joyce, let me ask you this.
mhm.
If our listeners are listening in here and they want some additional help from you more than what we're just being able to offer here today, what are some of the approaches you use when you go into an organization to help them remedy this situation?
Well, the first thing that I do, and I know you're big into assessments also, Tom Borg,
Mm-hmm.
is I have a assessment called the conflict dynamic profile.
Mm-hmm.
And I start with that. And I have a
Mm-hmm.
one-on-one, even if it's a group coaching, I still have one-on-one with each individual. And we
Good.
go over their patterns,
Mm-hmm.
how they react before, during, and after,
Mm-hmm.
and the conflict. And this is a great way to start
Mm-hmm.
because then we have a good dialogue and they say, oh, no wonder why I'm not heard because
Mm-hmm.
I retreat, I hold it in,
Mm-hmm.
or no wonder why I get in trouble all the time because I don't know how to get in somebody's shoes or, zip up my lip. So how do you like that? You zip up
Yeah.
my lip. So I start there. Then we go into the coaching and I don't know, I must be crazy. I'm never with a client that long. I work
Mm-hmm.
fast with them because I'm not a counselor, even though I have a
Mm-hmm.
degree in counseling. This
Mm-hmm.
is coaching.
Mm-hmm.
This is communication skills. So then
Mm-hmm.
we deal with wherever they're at, ask questions, and then I take off my coaching hat and we practice the Weiss
Mm.
communication success plan. And
Okay.
those are different strategies.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't use all of them. It depends. Every client obviously is different.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So you have a whole box of tools you can walk into an organization with and help train these people, coach these
Yes.
people to use these tools so they don't have to try to figure it out on their own. They have
Correct.
the help from a renowned expert like yourself that
Thank
can
you.
give them these tools that can certainly get the job done. That's the key.
Oh, absolutely. And accountability. It's all about accountability.
Mm,
We've all tried to lose, well, maybe not all, but
mm-hmm,
many of us have tried to lose weight. And yay, you do it even for a year. And
mm-hmm,
then if you don't have a coach or a consultant helping you,
mm-hmm.
many times you'll just go back.
Okay.
Whereas even though, let's say I work with somebody for 3 months, I always make sure that I check in with them. Or let's once a month, let's just meet to
Mm-hmm,
make sure. And that is a secret in working with a coach, the
mm-hmm,
accountability part, not to be their mother or their grandmother, but
mm-hmm,
just to say what's working, what's not working. How can I help you get back on
mm-hmm.
the path?
Gotcha. So what I'm hearing you
Yeah.
say, you can come in there, assess the situation, have
Yep.
that person assess themselves with your instruments, then you can give them some one-on-one coaching,
Hmm.
teach them some strategies, and then most importantly, hold them accountable in a nice way so they
Yes.
start getting the results they need, and then they're on their way to taking charge of that situation and eliminating bullying from their life.
Absolutely. And we uncover blind spots.
Yeah.
And then if it's group coaching, oh, I just did one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I meet with everybody. It's all on Zoom.
Okay,
It's
great.
usually not, I mean, I'm based in Michigan,
Mhm,
unless it's close here, because I now know ever since COVID, I've changed a lot of the things how I do work, and it's just
mhm.
time efficient
Sure it
and it
is.
saves people money.
Mhm,
So everything's done by Zoom, and group coaching it's the same. You start individually, then I get everyone together, and
mhm,
everybody knows that we're there to make improvements, not to blame. We have all kinds of rules of
mhm.
what not to do. And it's all about, this is where we are. We know this is the problem. How can we figure it out? And it's magic. They do it on their
Wow,
own. I just ask the questions.
fantastic. All
Yeah.
right. Well,
Thank you.
Joyce, if our listeners want to get more information from you or they want to get in touch with you, how can they contact you? Well, we'll put it on the screen
Yes.
for those who
Okay.
are watching this, but those that are listening, how could we get a hold of you?
Well, a few of the typical answers that you get from many of your guests,
Uh-huh.
send me an email,
Okay.
joyce@joyceweiss.com. And with that, I'm going to say, if anybody wants to have notes from this particular interview,
Mm-hmm.
I'm in the process of creating a very informal couple pages of what we talked about, so they
Mm-hmm.
can have it right in front of them. All they have to do is send me an email. In the subject line, put down Tom Borg interview. So just in case they get in spam,
Mm-hmm.
they can call me at 248-681-5831. LinkedIn for sure. It's
Mm-hmm.
linkedin.com/Joyce Weiss. And the last part is, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I
Sure.
put something up there every week. There are now over 300 videos
Wow.
on bullying, narcissists, micromanagers, and then on a lighter side, how to keep your people from leaving, how to keep them motivated.
Wow. That's outstanding. What a
Yeah,
resource. Joyce, I know our listeners are going to want to tune into that YouTube channel for sure. So
thank you.
we've got to have you back. You've got too much information not to just
No,
get you back again. So, well, I would like to say thank you so much for being on our program today. We look forward to having you back in the future. And in the meantime, you have made a definite difference to the people that are watching this video today because you've given us some great ideas.
oh, thank you. And Tom, I want to thank you. You are one of the best hosts who I have worked with. You listen, here we go again. You're a good leader. You listen, you ask very good questions, and you make us feel very comfortable. Therefore, I've been on so many shows, and by the end of it, I'm ready to go to the doctor, because they're tough, and you let us talk.
Yeah. Well,
So I want to thank you for your professionalism and for everything that you do as a business, coach consultant. Because I've had you on my show many times, so I will be back.
great. Thank you, Joyce. Thank you so
Thanks.
much.